There's a place where the ocean becomes an unstoppable giant, where waves reach the height of buildings and the wind blows so fiercely it could tear apart even the strongest ships. This place is the Drake Passage, the most feared maritime route on the planet, at the southern tip of South America at Cape Horn. Here, the Atlantic and Pacific don't just meet, they collide with an intensity that shakes every vessel, and in this chaotic dance, the sea seems determined to claim lives. In the Drake Passage, every crossing is a fight for survival, and any mistake or flaw in the equipment can seal the fate of an entire crew. This is a border between life and death, a place where only the strongest or the luckiest manage to reach the other side. For centuries, the Drake Passage has been a testing ground for sailors, explorers, and scientists, each with their own reason to risk these waters. It connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, but it's not just a geographical strait. It's a region loaded with stories of shipwrecks and disasters where nature has no mercy. When crossing this stretch, temperatures can plummet in minutes and storms form so quickly that there's no way to escape them. Winds can exceed 100 kilometers per hour, while waves of over 15 meters batter relentlessly. The feeling of fragility is overwhelming, and those who survive the Drake Passage often describe the experience as a mix of terror and admiration, of respect for a sea that seems to come alive, and that, at any moment, could devour them. In 1825, the American whaling ship Essex attempted to cross the Drake Passage and was hit by a storm so fierce that much of the crew was thrown into the sea. One of the survivors recounted years later how the ocean swallowed the bodies, and it seemed that nature itself demanded an offering. This story was etched in the maritime memory of the time, a somber reminder of the risks. Decades later, in 1905, the Norwegian ship SS Norge also attempted this route and was shipwrecked after colliding with an iceberg in thick fog. Over 600 people perished in the accident. Only a few survivors managed to reach lifeboats and spend endless hours in the icy waters, awaiting rescue. This tragedy marked one of the worst shipwrecks in the Drake Passage and left a mark on maritime history, as only a select group was rescued days later in a near-miraculous operation. The strait is riddled with floating icebergs, especially during the Antarctic winter months, and ships must navigate with extreme caution, avoiding these blocks of ice that can appear out of nowhere and destroy a hull in seconds. The ocean currents here are so strong that they generate whirlpools and unpredictable waves, making any vessel, no matter its size, feel tiny and vulnerable. Despite the challenges, every year, modern explorers cross the Drake Passage to study the fauna and geography of Antarctica and return with their own tales of terror and wonder. One of them, British navigator Chris Stanmore Major, described his crossing in 2011 as a war between the crew and the ocean. During his voyage, he faced waves that swept the deck, and he recounts how, in a moment of distraction, the sea threw one of his companions into the icy water. Fortunately, they managed to rescue him, but the man was brought to the brink of hypothermia in a matter of minutes. That ocean is alive, and when it wants you, it takes you, Stanmore Major declared in a later interview. Oceanographer Sylvia Earle, a pioneer in Antarctic ocean research, has crossed the Drake Passage on multiple occasions. In one of her accounts, she tells how, on a stormy night, the ship she was traveling on lost power for over 2 hours, leaving it at the mercy of the waves. The crew worked in the dark to restart the engines as the ship rocked, and each wave threatened to overturn it. "It's one of the most hostile places on Earth," Earle commented. "The ocean shows you who's boss, and you can only pray to get out of there in one piece." The first to face the Drake Passage were the European navigators, especially during the age of great discoveries and trade routes. Cape Horn was the only viable passage between the oceans before the construction of the Panama Canal, and thousands of merchant ships attempted to cross it. In the 18th century, most ships sailing from Europe to the Pacific, laden with spices, textiles, and treasures, were caught in storms so fierce that accounts of these voyages speak of waves breaking masts and sinking ships in minutes. Sailors of that time considered the Drake Passage a cursed place, an area where the ocean claimed offerings of blood and metal. In the modern era, the Drake Passage has become a scientific route, especially for those seeking to explore the wonders and secrets of Antarctica. Crossing the Drake Passage is the first challenge for scientists studying the frozen continent, and their journey is undertaken with extreme preparation. Research vessels facing these waters are usually equipped with the latest technology and highly trained crews, but even that doesn't guarantee a safe crossing. The phenomenon known as the Drake effect makes navigation unpredictable, lacking land to interrupt the currents and wind. The passage acts as a funnel for climatic energy, generating some of the most powerful storms in the southern hemisphere. This turbulence becomes an obstacle that challenges scientific teams and their vessels. Only the best prepared dare to try, but even they know that success is not guaranteed. For the adventurers and crew who survive, the Drake Passage is a transformative experience. Stories of hurricane-force winds, giant waves, and icy seas are told as legends. Sailors talk about seeing whales and seabirds, creatures that survive in this inhospitable environment, reminding them of the majesty of nature in its purest form. To cross the Drake Passage is to witness an untamed world where humans are only temporary passengers in a landscape that seems to belong to another planet. If this story of bravery and survival has captivated you and you want to learn more about the extreme routes and most inhospitable places in the world, subscribe to our channel. Join us on each episode to explore the wildest corners of the planet, discover their secrets, and experience the power of nature in all its intensity. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next adventure.